Johnny, if we take, say, the transport strikes, like Kathy said, all of the research shows predominantly the public, even though we might be frustrated, you know what we do now? We work from home. And so it isn't having the impact, is it? That
the irony here is that the strikes that were announced and then called off, I think, have annoyed people more than the strikes that actually went ahead, because you can make plans. You accept that striking is a part of a democracy, and we would never want that to disappear. The right to strike is an absolute pillar of democracy, and there's no question there. And we're talking about the nurses specifically. I have to put my hand up here and say that my dad was a doctor, spent 35 years in public health. My mum was a medical secretary. She worked on both sides of the fence, public health and private. My grandma was a nurse during the Second World War. My aunt was a nurse her whole career. So the NHS is very much a part of my life and my DNA.
Yeah.
But my dad, on his deathbed, said to me that it's a busted flush. And the real sadness for my family is that it's almost impossible to have a discussion about the NHS without everybody bearing down on you that you're a Tory right-wing scumbag because you want to change this beautiful organisation. And we should be proud of it, but it cannot continue to exist in its present form. And it frustrates the hell out of me when I see the job that nurses, that all frontline workers in the NHS do, and the bravery that you mentioned. But Kathy, you can expand that story. You've got the police, they put their lives at risk. You've got members of the armed forces, the fire brigade. There are many people in this country who put their life at risk every day they go to work. But the real frustration for me is when you hear about the amount the NHS invests in educating and training nurses and doctors who then a few years later leave for a better pay elsewhere. So we have to get in these staff nurses that are far more expensive. That financial madness, I just don't understand why that system is allowed to exist.